Hey everyone, it's Dave here.
And it's Tom, and we thought we'd look at the Fallout 4 mod patch that came out recently, weighing in at around 500 megabytes, giving console owners a rare chance to add mods to their game, something we haven't actually seen since Unreal Tournament 3 on PS3, way back when. So Dave here has been working through a couple of mods just to see what the situation is with regards to improving the visuals or even changing the frame rate, and we pretty much left him to it. So what have you got here?
Well, the bulk of the mods are available in the game at the moment on consoles, aren't really related to performance and visuals. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do, like spawn NPCs from out of nowhere. You can have lightsabers, infinite ammo, all the kind of usual crazy stuff.
So it's just sort of tinkering with the engine rather than going wholesale and changing things radically. It's more for, just a bit of fun.
Yeah, pretty much, just to expand on the current systems that's in the game, so you get sort of more flexibility with what you want to do. But there are a couple of mods that actually do change the look of the game quite dramatically.
Right, so I'd imagine Bethesda wouldn't be too keen on giving creators the tools to do, over-the-top crazy things for fear of, breaking the game. But yet, you do see some nice additions, like what's this? This is the custom Sanctuary Overhaul mod?
It is, yeah, and basically here what we're looking at is the old sort of bombed out Sanctuary neighbourhood is replaced with sort of modern, perfect buildings, all these sidewalks been fixed and the ground's been cleared. So it's basically like a remastered version of the city pre-nuclear event, which is pretty cool.
Well, I'd imagine this was taken from the start of the game. If you remember, at the start of Fallout 4, you're walking around the suburban streets before the nuclear apocalypse landed. So I imagine they just planted this in, and just for people who are curious to have it in the main game. But that's pretty cool. And this is the Spring in the Commonwealth, I see it's labelled here. Adds new grass?
Yeah, I think what it does is it takes existing grass from the game and just sort of applies it more liberally. And there are two versions of the mod available. This one has the sort of radiated grass, which is quite brown, but there is another mod in the works that has sort of normal grass. It's available on PC, but it hasn't filtered to Xbox One yet.
That's interesting, because you'd think that would kind of bring it up to par with maybe what we see on PC in terms of foliage density, and it doesn't affect frame rates, does it?
There is some performance issues when you do activate the foliage mod. So when you run into combat, for example, the game holds 30 FPS in this particular scene with the normal foliage, but with the mod, then we see drops down to mid-20s. So in some cases, some of these mods do impact performance.
Well, I suppose it's par for course, isn't it? And next up, what is this?
Basically here we've got enhanced blood textures, so if you look to the left, after sort of smashing this mutant over the head, there's a rather lame blood splatter on the floor, but on the right with the mod we get a lot more blood on the screen.
There's a lot more sheen to the blood itself, isn't there? It's more of an impact across the floor.
And it's just generally a bit more visceral, a bit more realistic aftermath in terms of combat. So
okay, and the fourth and final, I guess, mod that actually works is the semi-clean Sanctuary.
Yeah, this one is a bit of a sort of half-baked mod, really. It basically tidies up some of the foliage, gets rid of fallen trees, but it doesn't really restore the area to its former glory. So I'm guessing it's kind of an in-between, a fully recreated version of this area and one that is, post-apocalypse.
Cool. And you tried a couple of other mods as well, I see, but it's safe to say they weren't as effective?
No, the problem I found is that I downloaded quite a few mods and I was switching them on and off individually, and some of them just didn't seem to work. So there's things like a light overhaul that's supposed to add sort of shadows to the Pip-Boy and also increase the radius of light sources, and there's things like sort of more detailed water textures, but yeah, they just didn't activate. And I found it across a couple of mods. Some would work and some would seemingly do nothing.
That's interesting. And did you encounter anything in the way of, performance breaking bugs or, crashes, that sort of thing?
Well, there's a few crashes. I'm not sure if that was related to the mod or not, but trying to bring up the Pip-Boy when you first load into the environment crashed the game several times. But one thing that I did find a bit disturbing was with regards to the save games. Now, Bethesda themselves state that when you use mods on an existing save, they'll duplicate the save. So there'll be the original one, and there'll be a separate one with an M to signify that it's been modded.
So that's your, so you've got a backup of where you left it?
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. But what I found after using an existing save file of my first mod is that it just deleted the original save and just left the modded one. So any progress with the original file is effectively gone, so I wouldn't be able to gain new achievements or anything like that with that save. I'd have to start again if I hadn't backed it up to the cloud.
That's a bit worrying. I suppose these are early days for the mod scene in Fallout 4, and we'll see a bit more refinement over the course of the next few months. I'm imagining a lot of this is curated by Bethesda themselves anyway, but there's a lot of scope here for some really exciting stuff, especially if we can clean up performance in areas like Core Vega Factory. Imagine some modder out there tinkering with that to improve frame rates there, or even removing the volumetric fog in the Far Harbor expansion, which crippled performance to an extent on Xbox One.
Yeah, and they're all things that could be possibly done, and I think Bethesda have been quite liberal in terms of what they allow, but there is, I think, a verification process to sort of solidify which mods are going to be more stable than others. At the moment it's a bit of a crapshoot, so depending on how much work has been done to ensure the mod's compatible across PC and console. So yeah, it's a promising start. Obviously there's going to be problems when you're dealing with user created content, but it certainly adds a more exciting hook to the game, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what comes of it.
Right, well I guess that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video and like to see more, give us a like or subscribe below, and until next time, thanks for watching.